Well, hello and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at this little RGB tube light from Nanlite. It's the PavoTube II 6C, and we're going to have a look at whether it's worth the purchase. So let's jump straight into the video. So generally the first thing people want to know is how bright does this light get? Well, this gets really bright. If you compare it to Aputure's equivalent light, the Aputure MC, this thing outperforms it in terms of brightness. So at the moment, it's only on 9%, but you can just see how much it actually does. So this thing, for its size and cost, this thing does get very bright. So this tube light is a full RGB light, so you can set it to almost any color you want. The design itself is really nice and solid, and what I really like about the shape is you obviously have the front, which is curved, but on the back, you have 5 flattened off areas, which means if you place it on a table, it's not going to roll anywhere. And the 5 flat parts mean you can angle it 5 different ways to help the light's direction. And what's also great is those back parts are actually magnetized. So you can stick it to almost anything, no problems. And they are quite strong magnets. Now, what's also great is say you want to stick it to something that's not actually metal. How do you do it? Well, in the pack, they've included these little metal plates that you can stick onto a wall, whether you tape it to a wall. Then once that's on the wall, all you need to do is click the light to it, and because it's metal, it'll stick to it. So it really gives you the versatility to be able to mount it to almost any place. The light also has a 1/4 inch screw on either side, so you could also mount it that way. On the front of the light, where the light actually comes in, you have this nice diffusion. So in certain situations, you could actually use this as a key light, especially if you're shooting in a very tight space. And what's nice is you can't actually see the LEDs through the diffusion, which in some of these low-cost tube lights, you can actually see it. So having that is really nice. So onto the battery life, it's estimated to be around 65 minutes on full brightness. So it's pretty standard battery life for a light at this price range, but it also has the little USB-C plug on the back, which you can use for charging, but you can also plug it into external power or a battery pack and run it off that. So one thing I have noticed is say you want to stick it to the wall and run it off a battery pack. It's going to actually be quite difficult because the charging port is on the back. When you plug in the actual cord and you try to stick it flush against the wall, the cord's just going to be sticking out. So it's just not going to be flush against the wall, which is obviously an issue. So you got to keep that in mind if you're going to put it on a wall and run it off power. So onto the actual operation of the light. On the back of the light, you have all the buttons that you needed to operate and get to all the settings that's needed. And what's nice about the back is the buttons sit quite a bit lower than the rest of the back, so it protects the buttons more, but you won't have any accidental changes to settings if you're placing it up against a wall or anything like that. What else is nice about the design is if you were to throw it in a bag, you won't accidentally turn on the switch if it's rummaging around in your bag, because to turn on the light, you have to press and hold the on button until you see the Nanlite logo. So if you just do a quick click, it won't turn on. So the menu settings are really straightforward to use and to get to the setting you want. So hit the on button and hold to turn it on. Then you have the mode button, which changes the mode you want the light to set to. So CCT, HSI for all your color controls, effects mode, and then back to the standard menu. So what's great about the light is its dimmable settings increase by 1% increments, which is really great for refining your brightness. So a quick look at each of the settings, starting with the CCT. Now, if we hit the switch button, it moves to the next setting in the CCT, which is the color temperature. It ranges from 2700 Kelvin to 7500 Kelvin. Then finally, we have the plus green minus value. What you tend to notice with this light is that just on the standard setting with 0 green, and then if it's on daylight, it tends to be very pink. So the green value is there to really help dial in the correct color temperature. Then if we hit mode, it's onto the HSI, which is very simple here. You have all the brightness, the hue, so the color you want to set, and lastly, the saturation. So it's pretty straightforward. Then finally, we have the effects. So in the effects, we have things like police car, the TV, paparazzi, candle and fire, disco, bad bulb, fireworks, explosion, welding, and a hue and CCT loop. And finally an intensity loop with a few other features in there. Now what's great about these effects is the ability to really customize the effects. So for the police car, you have an option to choose between just blue flashing, red and blue flashing, blue and white, and red, blue and white. But you can also adjust the speed the flashes happen in. And there are different settings for different effects. So if you look, for example, at the TV effect, you can adjust the range between what it is dimmed. So if I want to keep the brightness between 20 and 40%, say, it will only stay within that range. Then I can adjust the CCT and the green plus minus value and the speed it flickers. So there are a lot of options to really refine the look you are after. So finally, I'm going to talk about this optional accessory that you can get with it, which I want to touch on quickly because I quite like it. So this is an egg crate for the light. It's nice and cheap, but I feel if you're buying this light, it would be really worth getting this to really help control the direction of the light. So because the light's diffusion goes halfway around the light itself, the light spill is quite wide. So in situations where you need to control the light, this egg crate really comes in handy. All you need to do is place the light under the middle strap, then place it between the two straps on either side, and it's all good to go. And as you can see, it becomes much more directional. So if you look on the side here, there is no light coming out. It's all just coming straight through, which means you can really control the spill and really help shape that light. So the egg crate comes in about 20 bucks, if that. You can probably find it cheaper. So it's really well worth getting it as an optional accessory, just so you can help control that light. So what's the verdict on this light? Well, my thoughts are it's a very, very solid light for the price. And if you are looking for low cost, just LED lights in general, but especially if you are looking for a tube light, it's really hard to go wrong with this one. All right, so that'll about do it for today's video. If you did enjoy it or you have any further questions about this light, please leave it in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.